Wonderful. Thank you for introducing us, Pete. We'll go ahead and get started. Before we do, though, if any of you have any questions throughout our presentation, feel free to raise your hand. We'll be happy to answer on the spot. We will have, if you want an answer right away, at the end we will have a time for question and answer session, but by all means, if you want to know something right then and there, please let us know. Excuse me. So we're going to do just a little information at first. Our office is located, so that you know, I'm sure you have a pen and a paper. Our office is located in the Student Union building, room 1533. We just moved across the hall from where we used to be, so we're still in the same area, but 1533 Student Union. You can reach us at, let me advance that, by phone at extension 4341. Or website is listed right there if you want to take that down. You can always just go to our website and peruse through it, browse through it to find out the different information that you'd like to know about after our presentation. Or give us a call. So we'll start out with just briefly going over some of the services that are available to you as graduate students. We are open to undergrad and graduate as well. So some of our graduate students will call us and say, hey, I'm not sure if this is for me, but how can you help me? And yes, the answer is the door is open, and we welcome all of our graduate students to take advantage of all of our services. We do have career and major exploration. I mean, a lot of the grad students at this point, you think you might know what you want to do, what you're already majoring in, what you've been accepted to, your program, all of that. You get a couple months into your program and you're still just a little confused. We'd be happy to help you with that. What we have is like a focus assessment that we would ask you to go through, and we sit down and just go through that with you step by step. And really what it is, it helps you to think about where you want to go, where you want to be. It's all on a personal level. It's all individualized. You can say that you want to be a criminal justice major or psychology major, across the board. But when it comes down to really what your career path is going to be, that's going to be up to you. So throughout that assessment, you're forced to answer questions and really just reflect and think about where you really want to be, what your interests are, what your goals are, and things like that. So that's part of it. Part one is you, and then part two of it is us. You after you do your assessment, you come on into our office. You give us a call and say, hey, I've completed the assessment. We set an appointment time, and you would either talk with Aaron or myself, or if you're lucky enough, Mr. Peter Thomas, and so that we can go through those answers with you. And there's no wrong answers, actually. It's just an assessment, like I said, to see where you're at. Moving on to professional development, we offer resume and CV assistance. We actually do not sit and write a resume for you. That's something that you all will have to do. At the graduate level, we are quite surprised that a lot of students do not or have never written their own resume before. The CV, the curriculum vitae, is something different, and so that's understandable. But at this point, a resume should have already at least been started, throughout your undergraduate career, somewhere, somehow. And if not, that's fine. We can help you get started. But we actually will not sit there and write one with you. We want you to learn. We want you to take it into your own hands and create that resume. But what we do is we go through it step by step with you. We walk you through it. We see what's there, make some suggestions, and again, a resume is individualized. Personal preference as far as verbiage and things like that. There's certain things that you should include, and we'll go through that later on, but it's individualized to the person. We do help with that. The CV, of course, that's an academic-based portfolio for yourself, but we also will help with that. Again, we won't write it for you. We would suggest that you would go to the Writing Center and utilize those services if you needed help with that. But we would look over it with you and offer some suggestions on what would work and things like that. We also have appointments for mock interviews. If you are looking to find a job or you have an interview already set and you want some help, you're a little nervous, we welcome you to call the office, stop in, set up an appointment. And what we do is actually just one-on-one go through a mock interview with you. We get a little bit of information from you about the job, and we go from there. And so it helps you really just feel a little ease, I guess, in preparing for your interview. I suggest that you don't wait until the day before your interview, that you make some time well in advance to come in, and that way, if you have a couple days to get used to it and even practice on your own. But we do offer that. Job search strategies. If you look on our website, there's tons of information about what you can do to search for a job. But we will also help you, walk through that. There's websites, there's partnerships that we have with companies and such, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But we will help you figure out how to search for jobs as well. And then protocol and etiquette. What's right, what's not right, what to do, what's wrong, all of that good stuff when it comes to interviewing, job searching, things like that. Dress to impress. You have to know how to dress when it comes to seeking a job or going to an interview, and we want to make sure that you understand that. Your mannerisms, your handshakes, your eye contact, all of that stuff, we actually will go over that with you. Some of the employment opportunities that are also available to students are listed under Rocket Jobs. By a show of hands, how many of you are registered for Rocket Jobs? Okay. We suggest that you take some time as a student here. What we offer for you is job opportunities. Rocket Jobs, we have partnerships and collaborations with companies all over the city, and even within the university that post job postings. If they're looking to hire somebody, they want college students, or whether you're graduate or undergrad, they want college students. And so they send us job postings. We post them on Rocket Jobs. And our students, as a student, you would go on, register an account, create an account, plug in your information, upload your resume, all of that important information, and job search right through there. You'll see who's looking, who's hiring, and you connect with the employer, at that point if you are interested in applying for that position. So I would suggest that everybody do that, whether you're job searching like right now or not. As long as you register for your account there, you'll have it, and when you're ready, you can just go and search. So do that, and that is also, you can access that through our website. We also have experiential learning opportunities. We have partnered with Intern in Ohio, and a little bit further down in the presentation, we're going to show you a video. But Intern in Ohio is an awesome collaboration that we've partnered with. The company is called Digerati. Really what that does, it allows the students to have experience with an internship as soon as, this semester. Again, much like Rocket Jobs, you'll go on, you'll create an account. Enter all of your information, your knowledge, skills, your abilities. We have employers also creating accounts, and what they do is register their information, what they need, what they're looking for, and they have the ability to go through and look at your resume and look at you just as if you were applying directly to them. If they're interested, if you have what it takes or what they're looking for, then they will connect with you. Internships can be paid or unpaid. There's an array of opportunities out there for you under Intern in Ohio as well. So I encourage you also to create those two accounts, Rocket Jobs and Intern in Ohio. So we're going to go through what is a resume. Of course, point blank, it's really a personal advertisement for you, who you are, what you're bringing to the table, what your experiences are, what your education is, what your hobbies are in some cases, what your interests are, what activities you were involved in, especially college students. If you're really involved, on campus, your resume is going to be filled with all kinds of things that you did through student involvement or any of the organizations that you might have been involved in or even working on campus. So really, that's really what a resume is. Short and sweet. It's an advertisement of who you are and what your experiences are. On your resume, you must have concise information and your qualifications. Employers don't spend a lot of time when you're searching for a job and you're submitting a resume. They don't spend a lot of time looking at your resume. You've got a window of maybe 20 to 30 seconds that you want to be eye-catching to that employer. So you want to make sure that you have relevant information out there, you have concise information, your qualifications are standing out there. You want to make sure that if you had any accomplishments, that you focused on them, that you're highlighting them. You want them to know that you're selling yourself. Of course, depending on where you're applying, you want to make sure that your resume is appropriate. You want to make sure that it is pertaining to that position if it's a specific one. Sometimes employers will just ask for a resume and you have a blanket one that just has an objective of, hey, I'm searching for a job, and that's that. And that's fine, but if you're actually looking, down a career path and you're applying for something that you're interested in and has that particular, interest, you want to make sure that you list that. So going through resume sections, and we do have an example of a resume that we're going to show you, but we'll go through the important sections of a resume. So of course you have to have your contact information. They have to know who you are. That contact information is your name, your address, an email, and a phone number. That has to be up top, up front. You don't want to submit something with they don't know who you are. So that's very important. Again, I talked about the objective statement, what your goal is. You want to make sure that you're letting them know what you're going for, what you're looking for. I want a job in the psychology department, point blank. I want a job at a daycare. I want to work with children. Whatever you're going after, you want to make sure that you have your objective right there in plain view so they can see what your goals are. You also want to list your education. Job opportunities, come and they have qualifications or minimum qualifications that they want somebody with a degree in a certain, area, or maybe a high school diploma or whatever it is. There's going to be a piece for your education. You want to make sure that you're listing that, and you want to make sure that you're listing that in chronological order. So you all are in grad school now. You would list your undergrad, at the bottom, and on top, you would list your graduate education. You don't want to forget that. You always should put the dates that you graduated in your education. You want to list the school or the college, the city and state that it's located in, the date that you graduated, or if you're expecting to graduate, you're a senior this year and you're getting ready to graduate in May, and you're applying for jobs, you can say expected graduation May 2014 or December 2013. So you can add that. You want to make sure that you are listing any special recognitions, did you have any honors? Excuse me, what were some of your awards? A lot of times I will tell a student that has a high GPA, 3.7, 3.8, 3.9, list that on your resume, right under your education or where your degree is. Make sure that you list that there. I think that's something to be pretty proud of, and that's a huge accomplishment. So things like that. You want to make sure that you list activities. We talked about some of your student involvement in organizations or events and things like that across campus. Some of you do like the breast cancer walk or different walk, the autism walk, or things like that. Make sure that you're including those. That shows that you're very active, that you're very involved, and you give back. So make sure that you do not leave. You take some time to look back and include everything that you're active in. Of course, you want to list your professional or your related experience. So where have you worked that ties into the job on the professional level? So, you were a teacher, or you were a substitute teacher, and you're in the education field and you're going for a full-time, teaching position. You want to make sure that you put out there that you have related experience to the job that you're now seeking. So you list that, again, in chronological order with the most current first, and then you go into other employment. You want to make sure that you show, if you have a history of working since you were 18 years old, you want to make sure that you include that, on there. Well, they will, excuse me. I don't know what's going on. So you want to make sure that you include all of that employment experience. It shows that you have been able to hold a job in the past. and for how long and what your different experiences are. So you want to make sure that you don't leave anything out. Of course, later on in life, when you're very, very experienced, and you really have added more to your plate, your, Burger King job when you were 16 does not have to be included anymore. That type of thing. But of course, until you're there, you want to make sure that you show how long you've been in the workforce. Okay? Any professional activities where you were leadership, where you held a leadership role, president of any of the student organizations, vice president. If you hold some type of executive board role, you want to make sure that you list that. Some of your jobs, you may be a peer leader or a mentor or something like that, where you were responsible, to make sure that a program was successful, or, overseeing some of your peers, 15, 20 of them. A lot of our student orientation workers, some of them have peer leaders, or there's designated leaders that will guide those students, along the year. You want to make sure that you add that, and it shows that you have leadership abilities and capabilities. And of course, any skills that you might have, computer skills. If you have been trained somewhere, maybe CPR or things like that, you want to make sure that you include all of that. If you speak more than one language, you want to make sure that you note that as well. They should know, all the employers or any employer that's looking at your resume should be able to know that you are fluent or proficient or whatever you are in another language. Okay? So here are some examples of resumes. Can you guys really see that? There's two of them, but again, they have the chronological order. Both of them list their education and their experiences, but this is really what resumes should look like. Okay, the references available upon request on the bottom one over here to my left, your right. Always be prepared to be able to provide your references whenever that employer or search committee or chair or whatever is asking for that. Sometimes they'll ask you when you're applying for a position to submit names of 3 people, references, personal, or work references. Make sure that you are asking those references in advance. You want to make sure that you're not surprising them with anything, okay? So very important. But these are good examples of resumes. This is what it should look like. These are some other ones. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Erin, and she's going to talk about the curriculum vitae.
Hi, everybody. My name is Erin Harper, and I'm going into my second year of graduate school. So I'm really excited to be here with you guys. I was sitting in your seat last year, so I know you guys are all excited and nervous about graduate school. And I would just say to enjoy your free time while you have it, with your family and your friends, and enjoy this week and this weekend, because you're going to be very, very busy. So I'm going to go over the CV, the curriculum vitae, and I always get lots of questions. What's the difference between a resume and a CV? And we're going to go over that for your help. I know I only have a couple of minutes. I think this is over at 11:45. Am I correct? So I'm going to kind of fly through this and get on some of the big points. So a CV is a detailed summary of your experience and your qualifications. It's focused mainly on your credentials, and it can be much longer and more thorough than a resume. And I'm going to show you an example of a CV later so you can see that. So when is it appropriate to submit a CV rather than a resume? A CV is used by applicants who are seeking scientific, academic, and medical positions. Is there anybody in here who is going into that sort of field? If you want to raise your hands. So you really want to pay attention to writing a CV, and you can come in, we can help you develop a CV sometime during this year. So if you're looking to get a job, a faculty job, anything in research, administration, anything clinical, a CV is the way to go for you. Applications for admission to graduate or professional school. Maybe some of you wrote a CV to get into graduate school, and so you're already on the right track. Anything for grant proposals or independent consulting, you would also use a CV. So these are just the main sections of of a great CV. Obviously, it has some of the components that a resume would have, so you have the contact information, your education, your professional experience. But then we add some things like research and teaching that would be on a CV that's different than a resume. You have your clinical and experiential rotations that you could list on there, your licensures and certifications. If you have any service work at a university or a college, you would also list that. Something else that's different is professional associations. If you belong to any of those, you would put those on your CV. If you have gotten any grants for work that you've done for research, list that. Honors and awards, any additional experience, military service, publications, things like that are all different than a resume that would go on your CV. This is an example of a CV. You can find these on our website, actually, and you can look at them a little bit closer, or you can come in and talk to us, and we can show you a more detailed CV. It just looks a little small on this screen. But as you can see, the education is listed like a resume, and the awards and things like that. But then you also list your things like your research interests, teaching experience, and all of your publications and presentations. So that's the big difference. So these are some tips that we wanted to give you guys. These count for both resumes and curriculum vitas. Just some do's and don'ts for you guys to take away from this experience. So first of all, you should list your experiences in reverse chronological order. So your most recent first, so graduate school experiences, and then into your college, and maybe before that if you wanted to do that. These are just, be clear, concise, careful, and consistent. Be positive. Use action words like managed and researched. People like to see that. Have your documents critiqued by various people. Like I said, you can come in and have your resume and CV critiqued by those of us who work in experiential learning and professional development. You can come right into our office and we'll go over it with you. Proofread your documents many times. Sometimes, you won't catch some errors the first time. Always print copies on high quality paper. Use lighter colored paper like white, gray, cream. Don't use green or pink or things like that. Update your resume and vita regularly. Tailor it to your individual audience, and keep a master document for yourself. Some of the don'ts. Don't state your salary requirements. That is a big no-no. Don't give reasons for leaving employers or offer negative information about yourself. Be pretty organized. Try not to be disorganized. Use personal pronouns like I or my. Don't do that. Don't use passive words or exaggerate your accomplishments. All these sort of things, these are don'ts to do. Do not include information that's very personal about you. Your height, your weight, your marital status. This is totally not appropriate for a resume or a CV, and just don't include any of this. Some of the personal information like Social Security and license numbers, they will get from you later if you actually get hired. So don't include any of this on a resume or CV. So what are some things that you can do now while you're in graduate school? I would say be very proactive. You're going to be super busy with class and all of the experiences that you're going through, but make sure you take the time to network. That's the number one job search strategy that you can do. Network, network, network. When you graduate from college, you can look online for jobs and things like that, but the biggest thing you can do is network with people who might be able to get you into some positions that you're interested in and capable of doing. Right now, do some research. Develop your CV and resume like we've been talking about. If you have a professional association that you can join, absolutely do that. Go to, if you have a conference or something that you can go to, an annual conference for your professional association, totally do that because you can network with people there. And then just gain experience in your field. And I'm going to hand this back over to Sabina, and she's quickly going to talk about the experiential learning piece of this. So here's Sabina back.
Thank you. Okay, so moving into experiential learning, that is also what our office is. Okay, here we go. So experiential learning, what is it? I know it's been a common term lately. I think it's a trend that's going like wildfire across college campuses. But experiential learning in a nutshell, point blank, if somebody's going to say what it is, you're probably going to get three common answers. That's going to be learning from experience, quick and down to the point, learning through action, or developing knowledge, skills, and values outside a traditional academic setting. Really, that's what it is. And a lot of what we talked about here, a lot of what everybody does anyways, is through experiential learning. You're learning by experience. Babysitting, any of your jobs, whatever you do, you're learning. You're gaining an experience and you're learning from it. Why is it important? Why is it important to us? Why is it important to you? Well, it influences the learning process. Again, everything that we do, our experiences, they influence what we learn. So our learning process is impacted. If you ever want to just dive into and learn more about experiential learning, a good rule of thumb or a good reference is Kolb's experiential learning theory. He says a lot about experiential learning and the importance of it. So I encourage you to do that if some of you education majors that are out there. So I think that a good way to talk about personal experience is through Erin. She's going to share with us just in a few words how her experiential learning has impacted her.
Sure. I'm in the higher education program for my master's, and I knew that I wanted to be involved in career services and professional development someday. So I knew that over the summer I had a ton of free time. So I approached Pete and I said, hey, Pete, do you have an opportunity or a position that's available for an internship? So I've been working with Pete over the summer doing rocket launches and things like that. And that experience actually led to a graduate assistant position job in the office. So that's a really great thing for experiential learning. So.
That's awesome. Experiences, they lead to opportunities for you. So you always have to have that in your back pocket. The more experience you gain, the more doors are going to open for you. The opportunities are there, and you want to take advantage of them while you can. So some of the resources, moving on, we were going to show you a video. We don't have, I think we're just having some technical difficulties with that, so we won't be able to do that. But again, I do encourage you to go to our website. We have a video out there that explains really what Intern in Ohio is. The resources that are available to you through our office, Intern in Ohio. Like I said, go on there, create an account, dive into an internship as soon as possible. We want you to have that experience, or you want to have that experience. Rocket Jobs is another resource. Again, if you're looking for employment, those are paid positions. Rocket Jobs, you will be paid, and it is work, so make sure that you do that. We also have many service learning opportunities and volunteer opportunities that can help you gain some experience. We have an array of them, and we're actually getting ready to host a community work study fair. The community work study is another one. So if any of you graduate students have community work study, federal work study, if you've been awarded that through your financial aid award, log on to our website. We're having, like I said, a fair. We have a lot of our partners and collaborators in the community are looking to hire federal work study students where you can gain that hands-on experience. Some of them are in the agencies like Adelante, the Cordelia Martin Health area, things like that where you can just dive into the community and help out and get paid for it. You're going to gain experience through that way. Social work majors, psychology majors, education majors, across the board, there's something for everyone. So these are some of the things that we're really excited about this year. And I do have a list of some events that we encourage you to get involved in. We're always looking for volunteers. Again, there's service learning opportunities for you to gain that experience through some of the organizations that you might be involved in or you can get involved in. But log on to our website, take a look to see what you're interested in, and we'd love